Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dami.
Thanks.
Welcome you all to another class. Hope we have had a wonderful week, and I'm really happy to see you all in class early enough, even though some people are not yet here. So on Wednesday, we talked about the UI UX design career part and some design principles. Please, if you are ready for today's class, can I just see your reaction on the chat? Just help me and type ready. Okay, we are ready. Okay, so I gave a task on the group chat. Please, if you know that you attempted the chat, just quickly raise up your hand so that we can start properly. Please, let's make it snappy. If you did the task, just type done now this time around. No, there's only one person I'm seeing. Okay. Okay. To ask question based on the assignment. So if you type done and I take a screenshot and I ask later and then you're not able to answer the question, it's going to be difficult for both of us. To class. Today we'll start by introducing the design thinking process and also design thinking approach. Before we start, Oluwatosin, do you have a question? Your hand is raised.
It was a mistake.
Thank you. Design thinking process is a user-centered approach to problem solving. So what do I mean by user-centered, human-centered? User-centered means that you are focusing on the user and you are placing the user in the center of all your decisions. Design thinking approach helps designers to create solutions that addresses real-world problems, solutions that are functional and also affordable. If you all remember the first set of remotes that we were using, we discovered that the remote was actually like television remote, actually very complex because there was a lot of buttons. So really very difficult for users to navigate through. So the design thinking approach was practiced. Then we'll now have what we call the smart remotes. So this one have lesser buttons, the one that we use currently, lesser buttons, and it's easy to use. So users can actually use it. So that's one aspect of design thinking process. It helps you to put your user in the center. Okay, what are the problems that users are facing? And you now find possible solution that addresses these problems. And I gave example with the universal remotes and the smart remotes now. Moving forward, talking about some importance of design thinking process. So design thinking helps to redefine problems. It also helps to put your users in the center of every decision. When you find a problem and you now use design thinking, you bring forth solution that addresses this problem. You develop empathy with users. Moving forward, we're talking about, we have 5 phases of design thinking process. We have the empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. What they understand by empathy, the difference, what they understand by empathy and sympathy. Anyone, if you know the answer, just quickly raise up your hand and I will call your name, then you can answer. Okay. Folaran, sorry. Oladi. Yes, thank you.
Don't worry, Olaide Folar. Good evening.
Thank you. Sorry for that.
No, it's understandable. Good evening, everyone. So empathy simply means putting yourself in someone else's shoe. To empathize with someone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
So you were saying we should I differentiate between empathy and sympathy? Is that
Yes,
what you're
yes,
saying?
yes.
Okay, why sympathy means it's just like the opposite. You are not feeling the empathy is like feeling the pain of the person, like feeling the pain of the user. You understand what the user is going through. Why sympathy is just trying to, how do I put it? It's just the opposite of empathy. Thank you.
So much. Olatosin, do you have anything to add?
Like she said, empathy is putting yourself in that person's shoes, in that person's feelings or situation. While sympathy, you feel for that person, but you are not providing any solution to what that person is going through.
Thank you so much. We'll just take the last person, then we can continue. Henry, your mic and speak.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so for empathy, you try to put yourself in the person's shoes. Then for sympathy, you feel sorry for the person. So the only difference is that for empathy, you don't necessarily recommend like maybe a suggestion. You try to really understand the user's problem. But for sympathy, you might maybe recommend the solution. You might just recommend something based on the situation on ground. So that's just what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. You all tried. So empathy involves putting yourself in someone's shoe, experiencing their emotion, and also truly understanding their feeling and their perspective. And then sympathy, feeling sorry for someone's hardship. It's just a detached form of understanding. Oh, just sorry. There's nothing you can do about it. But sympathy, you have to like just put yourself there, understand and see, also offer possible solution to that person's problem. Yeah. Okay. So that's the key difference between empathy and sympathy. So today, we're starting by understanding what the empathy stage, the empathize stage means in design thinking approach. So we have the 5 stages of design thinking approach where you have empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. It's a non-linear process in the sense that it's not sequential. It's not one step after the other. You can empathize, you can ideate, you can define, depending on the kind of problem you are trying to address. It's not linear, it's non-linear. Yeah. So moving, yeah, okay. So what we said that empathy is putting yourself in someone's shoe in order for you to understand the empathize stage. You'll be carrying a whole lot of research users need and how they think and feel. You also carry out to have a clearer picture of what your users are passing through, their pain points, their challenges, and their frustrations. So under the emphasize stage, we'll be carrying out a whole lot of interviews. We also do what we call user persona, empathy mapping, etc. If you don't really understand these terms, we'll treat each of the stages one after the other, because this design thinking process is more like the whole entire process a designer had to take from the beginning of his research to when the product is being launched. After the empathize stage, you move straight to the define stage. Here you create a clear problem statement or a description of what your users need based on the research that you have done on the empathize stage. Some of the activities that we're going to be carrying out here is user story, be able to like say one fictional statement addressing the kind of problem and possible solution to what your user is passing through. You're also going to carry out what we call information architecture. Can anybody remember what I said in the last class about information architecture? Please, if you remember, quickly raise up your hand and I will call your name, then you answer. Anyone? Okay, Francis.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mel. All right, you actually said information architecture is actually the information you put out there that you expect your users to actually see first and interact with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So information architecture involves organizing and structuring of your content on your page or your website. What kind of information do you want your users? How do you like arrange this for users to like identify those contents? We also out is the user story and also quantitative analysis. These activities will help us to gather more insights and create a clear problem statement. I know most of you, what does problem statement mean? So, addresses the kind of problem that you're trying to solve. So if you have done your research properly and you'll be able to like analyze this data, then at the end of the day, okay, you want to like solve this particular problem. For example, make a transaction, like transfer money to somebody, then you carry out proper research. Okay, they say, okay, one of their problem is network around these insights that you have gotten from your user. Then we have the ideate stage. After you are done with the define stage, finding possible solutions to the insight that you have gathered. Okay, me, can raise up your hand. You can unmute and speak.
Ma, I didn't see that define slide, and I said it on the chat box, but because it was just stagnant on ideate slide, so I didn't see the define slide that you projected.
Oh, okay, there's a mix up somewhere. So sorry. I said by define stage. The define phase, you create a clear problem statement or a description of your to be carrying out in this stage is user story, information architecture, and competitive analysis. This will help us to understand and analyze the data that was gotten during the empathy stage. So when you're done with your define phase, where you have been able to like come up with a problem statement or a description of, now you can start brainstorming possible solutions to the problem. Of ideation is to come up with many design inspiration, many design ideas as possible. Ideate phase is wireframing. So we're going to be making use of, if there is time, we also make use of Lucid, Miro to. We are also going to be carrying out the mind mapping activity and the crazy 8. So the crazy 8 come up with 8 different solutions to a problem, just like a sketch or a wireframe. When you are done brainstorming, designing wireframing possible solutions to the user's pain points, we can now move straight to prototype. in our first class. Please, if you remember, if you raise up your hand, if you can hear
Ma,
me.
your question was on wireframing, right?
No, sorry, prototype.
Okay, prototype. Okay, prototype is more like what you actually intend to build at the end of the day. More like a picture, like how do I put it now? Like a picture of what you actually intend to do as a prototype. So it looks exactly like this prototype. That means the product looks exactly what you have what you actually have in mind to into your users.
Thank you. Tobo. If you can hear me, unmute your mic and Angel. If you can hear me, unmute your mic and answer.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Prototype is like a flimsy copy of your work. Flimsy copy of your work, any stage of your work. You share it with your friends and your colleague for proofreading.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay, prototype is more like an early model of your product. Straight functionality. So this is where you now have to like connect these ideas. So remember in the idea stage, you are brainstorming, you are sketching, you are wireframing. Wireframing is you are just, if I put the button here, can users easily find it and navigate? More like what I said in the last class, when you are wireframing, you're not thinking about the beauty, black and white blueprints of your product. So at this stage now, you're just looking at, with this work, is this idea work? Users appreciate this idea. Is this addressing their pain point? So this is what I mean by a prototype. Now you have, they're just going to like connect. If you're using like a piece of paper, you're still going to connect your ideas and show it to your real users, because not everybody is a designer, so that they can easily always use FigJam to prototype, or Figma to prototype your ideas, so that your users can appreciate what the idea that you are bringing forth. Ike, if you can hear me, unmute your mic and ask your question. All right. Then we have the testing phase. During the testing phase, users should provide you with feedback. So here, after you're done prototyping, now you can now like give your real users, your target users, these prototypes so that they can navigate through. They will provide you with feedbacks, also possible ideas on what can be improved on the product before your design will now be built by engineers, the developers, or launched for the public people to make use of it. Please, if you can hear me, can somebody just quickly type, I can hear you. I don't know what's happening. Some people are hearing, some people are not hearing me. I don't know if it's from my end now. So if you have any question, or because of network and you didn't get any part, you can always ask a question now so that we can go back and address the question. Rashidat, please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Good evening, ma. Can you hear me?
Good evening, I can hear you.
Okay. My question is, you said we should use Pigmax. I didn't really get. Is it Pigmax for prototype?
I said Figma.
Figma. Okay.
Yes, not Figma. The others and tools that you can actually use, but for this class, we are going to be making use of Figma, but we introduce it to other ones too. Ike, you can unmute and ask your question now.
Hello, good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Okay, I wanted you to project the test stage. I missed it.
Okay. It's now.
Text stage. Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
About, hello, Ma, can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you said we should read on some topics and submit to you. So I
No,
don't know.
you're not submitting.
Okay.
Just read up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just document it properly. When you are onboarded on the elements, I might request for it.
Okay. All right, Ma. Thank you, Ma. All right.
David, do you have a question? David, if you have a question on me,
Good evening, Ma.
evening.
Ma, my question is this. I heard you saying something concerning the Figma. Are we to download it or you will tell us where to do that?
At the end of when we are done with the question, for people that have not been able to download or install or open Figma, I'll walk you through that.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes, Ma.
Okay.
Thank you, Ma.
No problem. Uchenna,
Yes, good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, please can you project the slide for prototype where you drew those lines so that I can just screenshot. Because today, like today's class is just breaking up to hardly here. Probably it's the network.
Can you say it now?
No, not this one. The one you drew two lines. How it's going to be shown.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
I think that will be all the questions. 5 phases of design thinking process. Just tell me, list the 5 and explain one. Let me be sure that we all followed. Then the next person will list and explain another one, like that. Adura.
Okay, good evening, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to pick one and explain. That's the, what's it called? The prototypes. No, not the prototype actually. Let me see, the empathy stage, rather. So it's the stage whereby you get to like put yourself in the, what's it called, in your, let me just put it, customers or your client shoes and ask them and feel what they feel about the design, how they want it to be. If you were to be in their own position, how will you want this to be, and stuff like that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Harry, okay, let's hear me. If you can hear me, unmute your mic.
Okay. Yeah, good evening. I can hear you.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I will continue from the next stage, which is the define stage. So in this stage, after empathizing with the user, you need to now define from all the maybe research, from all the data you've gathered from the user, from all the questions you've asked the user, you now have to define what is the exact problem, because they might bring many solutions and they might give you many feedback that okay, this is a problem, but they might not be actually sure of the problem. So you need to what now downsize or try to filter all the data you've got to actually get the specific problem that you want to solve. That's my own part. Thank you.
Goodness.
You hear me?
If I can hear you, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to like talk on ideate, and that is where we like unleash our creativity and bring out we come up with many design as possible, or like inspirations from the particular problem we've defined, from the particular problem defined from the user. We'll try to like come up with different ideas about the design we want to do, then to like use that to find a solution to the problem we want to like solve. That's my
Thank you so much, Larry. You are very correct. Sunday, if you can hear me, unmute your mic and speak.
Good evening, Chairman. I want to talk on prototype.
All right.
Yeah, prototype is more looks familiar to wireframe, where you start your first interface, then how the user navigate to the next one and the next one and the next one. It's like an architectural breakdown of what the user experience will be like. It's like an original model on which something is patterned. You understand? So for every stage is there's a layout that links an information or a button to an information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Emmanuel.
Yeah, just to add to what Mr. Sunday said concerning prototype,
Okay, you're
it's
picking
more, yes, it's more or less a sample in which you can use to, work with. For instance, if you have a construction, for instance, if you are working a construction site, you are given a drawing. So through that drawing, you are going to use to put in the construction. Just looking at the image, you are following the steps and the principles of that drawing. Then that's doing that alone is more like copying from what you are seeing from a picture. So prototype is just more like introducing what you are seeing or introducing what you get to see from a diagram or from a picture to reality. So that's my own contribution.
Engineering. Emmanuel, you have carried me away. I don't even know again.
Sorry.
It's all right. Ike.
Hello, thank you. The talking about the test stage, which I earlier asked for the projection. I understand that the test stage is like getting feedbacks from how the users feel about the design, and you want to know it's the final stage. So you gather like the user's feedback, and which it helps to identify any usability issues, and from there you try to update or redefine or redesign. But most importantly, you have to revisit the earlier stages to learn more about if there's any problem and find possible solutions.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll just go over the prototype and the testing phase again. Looking at this diagram here, you see that okay, when the designer was done wireframing, looking at this design, I just mainly on black and white and gray. When he was done with the wireframe, he tried connecting to try to make sense. Okay, how will these screens function? More like the early stage of the functionality of the product, how will users be able to navigate through. So after you're done with your prototype now, and you've been able to connect this, I can say, okay, Dami, navigate through this. Maybe the aim of this wireframe here is for users to like make transaction or fund their wallet. Okay, Dami, I want you to navigate and fund your wallet. Dami can decide to start from here. Maybe here, she cannot really find the button to go to the next one. She cannot give you her feedback. That is where you have to like give your users this wireframe, because it's focusing more on the functionality products. You are trying to see how users like navigate seamlessly without having to like encounter any blocker on the way. Then after you're done testing, usability testing, you are giving real users or your users, your target audience, the people that you interviewed earlier, this product to navigate. Then at the end of the day, they'll provide you with feedback that you can use to improve your products. They can also tell you what is not really needed that you can actually take out and improve on. that is why we call this design thinking process a non-linear process. It gives you the opportunity to revisit and redefine your ideas so that users can have a friendly experience or a smooth experience when navigating through your app or your website. Please, so that will be all. So good night, guys, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you guys on Wednesday.